Now we're going deeper. 45 more specific products, completely different from the last list, with real cost and real selling price for every single one. Let's not waste any time. Number 1, resin earrings, botanical drops. Resin earrings consistently rank as the top-selling resin item on Etsy and offer some of the best profit margins in the entire category. A pair of teardrop-shaped earrings with a pressed flower suspended inside costs $0.50 to $1.50 in materials, including earring hooks, and sells for $14 to $28. The botanical inclusion is the specific detail that drives the premium. A clear earring with a tiny violet or fern specimen inside is demonstrably one of a kind. UV resin is ideal here. Thin pores cure in seconds under a lamp. Sand through progressive grits from 400 to 2000 and finish with a polishing compound for a completely glass-like result that photographs beautifully for your listings. Number 2, resin rings with miniature landscape scenes. Beyond a simple flower-embedded ring, the technique of creating miniature landscape scenes inside a resin ring, a tiny mountain range, a night sky with micro-glitter stars, or a snow globe effect with white powder suspended mid-pour, is where the high-end resin jewelry market is moving in 2026. These require layered pours, where each element is partially cured before the next is added. Material cost is $1 to $2. Finished rings sell for $18 to $38. The visual complexity justifies the price, and the "how did they get that inside there" reaction from customers at craft fairs is the kind of engagement that drives immediate sales. UV resin is ideal here. Thin pores cure in seconds under a lamp. Sand through progressive grits from 400 to 2000 and finish with a polishing compound for a completely glass-like result that photographs beautifully for your listings. Number 3, resin bracelet bangles. A solid resin bangle poured in a circular mold with swirling pigment effects, metallic mica powder, or embedded foil looks like a high-end fashion accessory but costs $1 to $3 to make. Bangles sell for $18 to $40. The swirling technique that creates marble, oil slick, or agate-like interior patterns is achieved by adding multiple pigment drops and swirling with a toothpick, simultaneously easy and dramatic looking to create. Sets of 2 or 3 matching bangles sell for $35 to $70 and are strong Etsy bundle performers. Number 4, resin charms for jewelry making. Individual resin charms sold to other jewelry makers as well as end buyers gives you 2 distinct customer types from one product. Shaped charms, moons, stars, leaves, animals, cast in vibrant or pearlescent resin sell for $3 to $8 each or $15 to $25 for a set of 5. Material cost per charm is under 30 cents. Listing these under Etsy's jewelry making supplies category opens up a separate search audience of makers who buy in bulk, a very different buyer from the consumer market, and often a more consistent one. Number 5, resin candle holders. A resin candle holder made with translucent tinted resin and embedded botanicals or colored sand allows warm light to filter through and cast patterns on surrounding surfaces. Material cost for a medium holder is $3 to $6. These sell for $22 to $45. One critical safety note: resin is flammable and should never have open flame contacting the resin walls directly. The correct application is a glass insert inside the resin holder that contains the tea light and heat. The glass separates the flame from the resin entirely. Always communicate this in your product listing and care instructions. Number 6, resin-coated notebook covers. A plain hardcover notebook transformed by a poured layer of tinted resin, creating a marbled, geode, or galaxy effect sealed permanently to the cover, becomes a premium stationery item selling for $18 to $35. Material cost is $2 to $5, including the blank notebook and the pour. Seal the cover with a primer layer first so resin doesn't absorb into the cardboard, then pour a thin epoxy layer and manipulate with a heat gun before curing flat. These appeal to the journaling and bullet journaling communities, large, engaged, and actively purchasing in 2026. Number 7, Resin napkin rings, entertaining collection. Resin napkin rings have a polished sculptural quality that reads as premium tableware, completely different from the beaded versions. A set of 4 rings cast in circular molds with embedded botanicals or gold leaf flake sells for $28 to $50. Material cost per set is $3 to $6. The autumn and holiday seasons are the peak buying windows when table setting becomes most deliberate. Bundle them with resin coasters or a matching tray for a coordinated entertaining collection that increases your average order value. Number 8. Resin-tiered serving trays. A 2- or 3-tier dessert tray, resin-poured discs stacked on a central hardware post, is a party and baby shower product that Art Resin specifically calls out as a product that will sell out at events. Material cost for a 2-tier version is $8 to $14, including hardware. These sell for $40 to $75. Marbled effects for modern elegant aesthetics, botanical embedments for garden party themes, and seasonal colors for holidays all work well. Style your listing photo with macarons or petite fours for maximum appeal. Number 9. Resin Ocean Art Coasters, specific pour technique. The ocean art pour is a distinct technique where layered resin pours with a blow dryer or heat gun create the cellular, lacy foam effect of a breaking wave. When executed well, these coasters look like 3-dimensional photographs of the ocean. They sell for $35 to $60 for a set of 4, significantly above standard resin coasters because the technique is more complex and the visual result dramatically more impressive. Material cost is $5 to $9 per set. The price premium this specific technique commands makes it worth the learning investment. Number 10. Resin nameplates and desk signs. A flat resin panel with a name or word embedded in alcohol ink sealed under a clear top layer is a personalized desk accessory selling for $18 to $35. Material cost is $2 to $5. A plain plastic holder is a commodity. A handmade resin holder is a brand statement. Offering color customization to match a buyer's existing desk setup is a simple upgrade that commands a small premium without additional production effort and makes it more likely to sell. Number 11. Glow-in-the-dark resin magnets, cast using phosphorescent pigment powder mixed into clear resin, appear as beautiful translucent or pastel pieces in daylight and glow in the dark. A set of 6 botanical-shaped glow magnets sells for $18 to $28. Material cost per set is $2 to $4. Phosphorescent powder is inexpensive per use. A small pot goes a very long way in small magnet pours. These sell strongly to parents of young children, novelty gift buyers, and Halloween-adjacent product lines where the magic of glow creates an immediate emotional response. A standard metal letter opener blade set into a resin handle with embedded botanicals or metallic inclusions is a desk accessory with minimal competition in the handmade market. Material cost, including the blade insert, is $3 to $6. These sell for $20 to $38. The gift market is strong. A personalized resin letter opener is compelling for executives, small business owners, and stationery enthusiasts. The functional application means it's used daily, keeping the handmade object visible and relevant in a way purely decorative items are not. A beautiful poured resin container, sold empty for the buyer to fill it with their own wax and wick, serves both end consumers wanting a distinctive vessel and other small candle makers looking for unique containers. Empty resin vessels sell for $18 to $40. Material cost is $3 to $6. This product sidesteps the direct heat contact safety concern because the buyer controls the candle configuration. Always recommend in your listing that only container candles with appropriate wax and wick sizes be used to prevent flame from reaching the resin walls. A small resin cabochon glued onto a plain bobby pin base is a micro jewelry product that costs almost nothing and sells in sets of 4 to 6 for $10 to $18. Material cost per set is 50 cents to $1. Bobby pin bases come in packs of 100 for a few dollars from jewelry supply companies. UV resin cabochons cure in seconds and bond firmly to the metal surface. The polished jewel-like aesthetic of the resin version is completely distinct from crocheted hair accessories. Different buyer, different look, different occasion. Individual resin tiles in square or hexagonal molds sold as a coordinated set for buyers to arrange on a plain wooden picture frame produce a mosaic effect at home. A set of 20 to 30 tiles in a coordinated palette sells for $15 to $25. Material cost is $2 to $4. The listing photograph should show a finished mosaic frame to communicate the transformation immediately. Buyers need to see the before and after in a single image to understand the product's value proposition. Thin, transparent resin shapes colored with alcohol inks, designed to hang in a window and cast colored light patterns, are entirely distinct from crystal bead suncatchers. These produce a stained glass-like color filter effect using the translucency of lightly pigmented resin. A set of 3 geometric suncatchers sells for $18 to $35. Material cost is $2 to $4. These photograph beautifully with a bright window behind them and generate warm, colorful images that perform exceptionally well on Etsy and Instagram without requiring elaborate staging. Taking a single paragraph or poem from a damaged old book and sealing it permanently under a UV resin dome on a pendant blank creates literary jewelry for book lovers. A book page pendant sells for $15 to $28. Material cost is 50 cents to $1. The emotional connection to the specific text is the value. A line from a beloved poem sealed in glass-like resin is an intimate personal object. Source only pages from damaged or deteriorated books with no commercial value, and avoid reproducing currently copyrighted works in ways that might constitute reproduction. A small solid resin wedge sized to prop a smartphone upright at a viewing angle sells for $15 to $25. Material cost is $2 to $4. These are cast in wedge or L-bracket molds in marbled or clear embedded resin. Remote workers and students who take video calls or watch content at their desks use phone stands daily. A resin version in an aesthetically pleasing design sits on a desk as both a functional tool and decorative object, the combination that consistently sells in the home office decor market. A small resin block or tray sized to hold a stack of business cards upright sells to small business owners, real estate agents, hairstylists, and anyone with a client-facing desk. These sell for $18 to $32. Material cost is $2 to $5. A plain plastic holder is a commodity. A handmade resin marbled holder is a brand statement. Offering color customization to match a client's brand palette is a simple personalization with almost no additional production effort that commands a meaningful premium price. A fabric scrunchie with a small resin-poured dome or geometric shape with botanical or glitter inclusion as an accent creates a hybrid textile and jewelry product selling for $12 to $20. Material cost is $1 to $3. The resin toggle is cast as a small cabochon and attached to the scrunchie with adhesive or stitched through a pre-made loop. This works well as an extension of an existing scrunchie product line or as a standalone elevated hair accessory with a clearly distinct aesthetic from basic velvet scrunchies. Small resin tiles, 2 to 4 inches in diameter, featuring miniature poured art in ocean, geode, or abstract styles, backed with a strong magnet, are positioned as tiny art pieces for your fridge rather than functional magnets. A set of 3 coordinated art tiles sells for $22 to $38. Material cost per set is $3 to $6. Each tile is a tiny original artwork, and that distinction, communicated clearly in your listing, elevates the price point and attracts a buyer who collects art but has limited wall space or a limited budget. Casting resin in irregular organic shapes that mimic raw crystal specimens, river stones, or faux agate slices produces decorative objects in any color combination. Faux crystal clusters sell for $15 to $35 per piece. Material cost is $2 to $5. Natural crystals in vibrant, unusual colors, hot pink amethyst, teal quartz, gold geode, don't exist in nature, but resin versions in those colors absolutely do, and they're exactly what the maximalist and eclectic home decor buyer wants. Display them in groups of 3 for the most compelling listing photographs. Small custom resin trophies cast in star, shield, or abstract winner shapes with a name or title embedded before curing sell to sports leagues, corporate teams, and schools wanting something more distinctive than a generic award store piece. These sell for $25 to $55. Material cost is $3 to $7. Parent-teacher organizations, youth sports leagues, and small business employee recognition programs are natural wholesale buyer targets. A handmade resin award communicates that someone took time to make something specifically for the recipient. That distinction is the entire premium. Individual resin cast decorative letters sell for $8 to $18 per letter. A full first name in 3 to 5 letters sells for $25 to $65 as a personalized set. Material cost per letter is 50 cents to $1.50. These are strong nursery and baby shower gifts when the buyer knows the child's name in advance. Glow-in-the-dark letter sets for children's bedrooms command a premium and photograph dramatically in darkened images. Use that specific photograph as your primary listing image and watch the conversion rate reflect it. A cluster of dried flowers arranged in a shallow dish and sealed permanently under a clear epoxy dome creates a three-dimensional preserved floral arrangement behind a glass-like surface. A small dome of dried lavender, baby's breath, and wildflowers sells for $25 to $55. Material cost is $4 to $9. This appeals to the wedding keepsake, grief memorial, and home decor markets, all of which have deeply motivated, price-tolerant buyers. The preserved quality is the selling point. These flowers will look exactly this way for decades. A full 26-letter resin alphabet set in rainbow colors backed with magnets sells for $22 to $40. Material cost for a full set is $4 to $8. Parents of toddlers specifically searching for tactile, non-plastic educational materials are the buyer. Resin versions are presented as more durable, more colorful, and more aesthetically pleasing than mass-produced foam or plastic sets, a positioning that resonates strongly with parents who make deliberate, values-driven purchasing decisions for their children's learning materials. Dipping the rim of a plain terracotta pot into thin, pigmented resin creates a decorative banded effect at the top of the pot. Material cost per pot is $2 to $4. These sell for $12 to $25. The resin dip produces a glossy architectural finish that paint can't replicate. This is completely distinct from hand-painted pots. Style listing photos with a trailing succulent inside. The plant parent community is an enormous, loyal buyer base that specifically seeks out display upgrades for their collections. 2 resin-poured bookend-style pieces with a rod between them to hold paper or cloth napkins upright on a dining table is a functional piece with almost no competition in the handmade market. Material cost is $4 to $8. These sell for $28 to $48. Sell alongside resin napkin rings and a small tray as a coordinated host set to increase average order value. A buyer who wants one often wants all 3, and the combined set justifies premium pricing. A small to medium resin panel with a word, rest, gather, dream, studio, embedded with dried botanical elements visible through the surface sells for $25 to $55. Material cost is $4 to $8. The resin version occupies a distinct aesthetic position from handmade wooden word signs. The botanical transparency and the sense of flowers trapped in glass is something timber or MDF simply cannot replicate. Gift positioning for mothers, homemakers, and people moving into new spaces works consistently year-round. A solid clear resin sphere polished to glass-like clarity sells for $20 to $45. A galaxy effect version with metallic powder and iridescent glitter suspended inside sells for $35 to $65. Material cost is $3 to $7. Achieving glass-like clarity requires a pressure pot and careful polishing through progressive grits. These sell to the spiritual wellness community, the home aesthetic buyer, and photography prop collectors who use crystal spheres for refraction images. The production challenge is real, but the price premium for a flawless sphere is equally real. A set of small resin tiles numbered 1 through 31 and month tiles arranged daily in a small stand to display the current date is a perpetual calendar that never expires. The full tile set with a stand sells for $35 to $60. Material cost is $6 to $10. This product has limited competition on Etsy with a clear gift application for home office workers and desk decor enthusiasts. The artisan handmade version positions against mass-produced versions on the strength of material beauty and the fact that no two handmade tile sets look identical. Flat resin stakes with plant names embedded, pressed into soil to label herb gardens or indoor plant collections, sell in sets of 8 for $18 to $20. Material cost per set is $2 to $4. The plant parent audience, already established across multiple previous scripts as a high-engagement, high-purchasing community, buys these for both function and aesthetics. The premium approach is casting names in raised letters using a stamp pressed into the mold before the pour. The faster approach is a paper insert with a plant name sealed inside clear resin, equally readable and significantly quicker to produce. The Petri dish pour technique, where silicone oil added to pigmented resin creates extraordinary cellular lacing patterns, produces ornaments that look like biological specimens or microscopic cell views. These sell for $12 to $22 each, significantly above plain colored or glitter ornaments. Material cost is $1 to $3. The technique requires specific silicone types and ratios to work consistently, but the results are so visually distinct from standard resin ornaments that they stand completely apart in a crowded ornament market, exactly the differentiation that commands premium pricing. A small resin container with strike paper adhered to the outside base, designed to hold long matches for lighting candles or incense, is growing alongside the home fragrance market. These sell for $18 to $32. Material cost is $3 to $6. High-end gift stores sell similar versions for $45 to $60. A handmade resin version at a lower price with a more personal aesthetic is a direct alternative for buyers who already understand the product. It pairs naturally with candle holders and candle vessels as a coordinated home fragrance collection. Bundle all three for a strong gift set offering. The Petri dish technique applied to a flat wooden disc and framed produces wall art that looks completely unlike any other handmade medium. Each pour is genuinely unique because cell formation is affected by room temperature, humidity, silicone ratio, and specific colors used. Framed Petri dish art sells for $35 to $90. Material cost is $5 to $10. The pour process is mesmerizing to watch, which means TikTok and Instagram process video markets this product essentially for free. Every video of the cells forming in real time attracts an audience who immediately wants the finished piece. Open bezels, pre-made metal frames in oval, circle, or irregular shapes are the mold. Pour in UV resin to fill the frame and cure. No mold purchase required, no demolding complexity. These produce a professional-looking pendant with a gold-plated or silver finish built into the blank. Material cost per pendant is 75 cents to $1.50. These sell for $12 to $25. Multiple 2026 beginner resin jewelry sellers specifically recommend open bezels as the entry point for new resin jewelry sellers. The result looks far more polished than the technique complexity warrants, which is the best possible position to be in as a seller. Foraging acorns, pine cones, seed pods, and small shells, and then coating them in thin, clear epoxy resin, which preserves them, deepens their natural colors, and gives them a lacquered appearance, produces decorative objects that sell as seasonal table decor and naturalist display pieces. A small glass jar containing 8 to 10 resin-glazed acorns sells for $12 to $22. Material cost is $1 to $3. The specimens are free. The gloss technique is simple. Brush or dip thin coats of 2-part epoxy, hang to drip dry, repeat. This is one of the very few resin projects where the primary material costs nothing. A slim resin tile shaped to standard card dimensions inserted into a card slot phone case as a decorative back panel visible through the window allows smartphone users to customize their phone appearance without replacing the protective case. Material cost is 50 cents to $1 per tile. These sell for $8 to $15. The market is the same smartphone personalization buyer who purchases beaded phone charms and resin phone grips, all addressing the same underlying desire to make a personal daily object look distinctively personal. Flat resin pieces in marbled, geode effect, or ocean pour technique used as display platforms for terrariums, air plants, and crystal specimens sell for $15 to $30. A coordinated set of 3 platforms in graded sizes sells for $35 to $55 and provides a complete style display system. The terrarium and indoor plant community use display platforms to frame their arrangements intentionally. A handmade resin platform is the considered aesthetic-forward choice over a plain wooden board or plastic saucer. A resin pendant with a miniature map-printed section or compass rose embedded under a UV resin dome is travel-themed jewelry for geography enthusiasts and wanderlust aesthetic buyers. Material cost is 75 cents to $1.50, including the printed map element. These sell for $15 to $30. Personalization is the premium. The neighborhood where the buyer grew up, the city where they met their partner, the country they traveled to. Personalized map pendants have their own established Etsy search volume and attract a buyer who is already motivated before they find your listing. A small wooden board 6 to 10 inches with a narrow river of colored resin poured through a routed channel down its center is a manageable, impressive-looking version of the large river table trend. These sell for $35 to $65. Material cost, including the wood blank and resin, is $8 to $14. Position these as charcuterie display boards used with parchment paper between food and the board surface, not as direct food contact surfaces. The visual drama of the resin river against natural wood grain is disproportionate to the technique's difficulty at this small scale. A circular resin pour in a large decorative mold styled to reference Victorian architectural plaster ceiling medallions produces statement wall art in a 10 to 14-inch diameter piece. Material cost is $8 to $15. These sell for $55 to $100. The maximalist and historically referencing interior design aesthetic is one of the strongest growing home decor trends in 2026, and this product speaks directly to that buyer. There is almost no competition in the handmade resin market for this specific product, another case where low competition relative to a real buyer demand is exactly the opportunity you want. A small resin cast shape, a botanical leaf, a moon, a mushroom, an abstract form with a pin back attached sells for $10 to $20. Material cost is 50 cents to $1.50. The slow fashion and clothing customization movement drives consistent demand for small wearable ornaments that express identity and personalize thrifted or plain garments. Shapes tied to specific communities sell particularly well. A mushroom for cottagecore, a crystal for the spiritual wellness buyer, a book for the literary community. Each shape finds its audience, and those audiences are defined, passionate, and actively purchasing. A clear resin dome cast over a small base scene, miniature figures, tiny botanicals, glitter suspended in gel, or a small landscape recreates the snow globe aesthetic in a permanent solid format. The suspended elements don't move, but the visual impression of depth and containment within a clear dome is equally compelling, and the object is durable. These sell for $20 to $45. Material cost is $3 to $7. The nostalgia dimension is strong. The snow globe aesthetic references childhood and gift-giving memory, while the solid resin version reads as elevated and permanent compared to mass-produced liquid alternatives. Market research from AMZprep.com's 2026 high-demand, low-competition product analysis identifies a specific gap. Most beginner resin kits leave out safety equipment entirely. A kit that includes resin, molds, pigments, and basic tools, plus nitro gloves and a respirator mask rated for organic vapors, with a clear instruction card explaining why each safety item matters, earns better reviews and lower return rates than kits that assume prior knowledge. These sell for $28 to $45. Material cost to assemble is $10 to $16, including the safety components. This is both genuinely responsible, resin requires respiratory protection in enclosed spaces, and a commercial differentiator that separates your kit from every generic competitor.